Hey guys, it's Jessii Vee. So while this video is very sad and emotional, I'm also really excited to announce to you guys that I am starting a new series, and this is episode 1 of my new series. And throughout my entire YouTube career, I have always told the stories from my life. And I am going to continue to do that because I love telling you guys story times, but I also thought the other day that I have so many family members and really close friends that also have really impactful stories, and they are willing to share it with you guys. So I thought that for this series, and I might post one a week or one every other week, but I do want to make it pretty consistent. And I thought that I would go to some of my family members and my friends and interview them and have them tell one of the most craziest things that have ever happened to them, and then use it as a learning experience for you guys and give you guys advice or words of wisdom if you guys are going through it too, or if you haven't gone through it yet, or something like that. So today my mom was willing to tell a story about one of the darkest parts of her life, and she told me this story when I was very young and I didn't expect it, but it gave me a new view on my mom and it made me think that she was such a stronger woman than I had thought. So I think that you guys hearing this story from her will inspire you and hopefully get you through what she went through if you guys are going through the same thing. And that's what I want this series to be, just different people in my life with different stories that can relate to you guys possibly. So I hope you enjoy this, and as I said, this is only going to be like once a week, once every other week, so the rest of the week is going to be my normal content and story times from me. This is just something that I really wanted to try out, so I hope you guys really enjoy this series. Please send my mom some love. She also has her own channel, which I will link down below if you want to check out after you watch this video. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy it, so here you go.
So I was 18 years old when I thought I had met the love of my life. He was tall, dark, and handsome. Very handsome. And I was actually, it's quite ironic, I was actually in a nightclub with my girlfriend, and we were both underage at the time because the age to get into any kind of bar in Canada is 19. I was 18. And the funny part about it was he was a cop. So he and his friend, who was also a cop, were in the bar, and they came over and started chatting with us. And yeah, I didn't know he was a cop at the time, thank goodness. I probably would have freaked out, but just a really nice guy. He seemed really kind and nice and very complimentary, and he took my number and he said that he would give me a call. And a couple days after that, I was out with my girlfriends, and I think we were at a concert, and my mom, there was no cell phones in those days, so my mom called me and she said, this guy keeps calling, and he said his name, and you know, I think that he really wants to speak to you. And unfortunately I was away for the weekend with no way of getting a hold of him, so I had to wait till I got home. I gave him a call back and we made arrangements to go out again. Well, to make a long story short, it went really well. We really liked each other, and we started dating. I knew something was not quite right probably into about 4 weeks to 6 weeks after we'd started dating. He would have these episodes of anger, and they would come over him all of a sudden, and he would get a very different look about him in his eyes and his the way he carried himself, and he just became like a different person. It was almost like there was two different people inside of him. A very kind, caring guy, and then a very mean-spirited, angry, I don't even know what other words to describe him. It was scary. When I saw this personality come out in him, I knew it wasn't going to be a good day. I knew it wasn't going to be a good date. I knew it wasn't going to be a good occasion if we were out somewhere. He just got very controlling. And for instance, I think one day we were eating burgers and fries, and I went to put salt on my fries, and he grabbed the salt from me very roughly and said, I don't want you putting salt in your fries. I said, what? Why? Well, there's enough salt on the fries, you don't need salt. And these that's just one of many things that would happen. And then he would become very insulting. Like he would put me down and say what was wrong with me, or you should have worn that, you shouldn't wear this, and that doesn't look good on you, you should have worn that. And he would actually buy me clothing and tell me that I should wear this and not that. And he used to bug me about my weight. He used to be just very mean-spirited. I mean, there were times when we were out driving and everything would be fine, and then this mood would come over him and he would just be nasty. I remember one particular drive, we were out in the middle of a country road and he got very mean, and I can't remember if he pushed me or if I tried to open the door. Because it was so long ago, I can't remember. I just remember being very upset and needing to get away from him. And I literally opened the car of a moving vehicle and rolled out into the ditch. And he kept going, circled around, came back, passed me again, and this would go on, and I was by myself. And as I said before, no cell phones in those days, so it's not like you could call someone. I couldn't call my parents and say, look, I'm struggling, things are not good, come get me. There was none of that. So when he had finished circling and had enough of terrifying me, he pulled up and he'd say things like, I'm sorry, get in, everything will be fine, don't worry. And silly person that I was, would always believe that the nice side of him would just win out. And I stayed in the relationship. He asked me to marry him. He bought a ring and he took me out for dinner and he proposed at the end of dinner. Actually, no, I thought he was going to propose at the end of dinner and he didn't. He waited till we got out into the car outside before he proposed. He proposed in the car. And I remember at the time saying to him, well, why didn't you do it at dinner? And he's like, well, there was a lot of people. I didn't want to do that. It was almost like, you know, he didn't want to be the center of attention anywhere. But I think it was more that he didn't want me to be the center of attention anywhere. He would get very jealous and angry if I even looked at another guy. If I was talking to someone, he would do the same thing, but he would take it to the next level. So he was always, you know, he was a good-looking guy, so girls definitely were attracted to him, and he just would milk that in front of me just to make me upset. And I realized very soon that our relationship wasn't normal. There was more pain and anger than happiness and fulfillment. And at the time, I guess I was just too young to realize he was everything I'd ever wanted. Handsome, good looking, great job. And I thought, you know, I had met the love of my life and we were going to get married. And my mom kept trying to say to me, you know, Nikki, something's not right. Something just doesn't seem right with him. And I would just say, oh no, he's fine. He's just having a bad day. I'd blame it on his job. I'd say, oh, you know, he's a police officer. He's got a very difficult life. But, you know, I knew deep down inside that something was not right. And I think when you get that voice in your head that says, you know, things are not good, I think you should always listen to it. And my mom at the time, she's the real hero in this story because she took me aside one day and she said, you know, Nikki, I'm really scared. I'm worried. And I think that you should call off the wedding. This was just before Easter and the wedding was in August. I'd bought my wedding dress. I had planned the day. We'd booked the hall. Everything was ready. And we were just about to send out invites. And I guess that was maybe all my mom needed. The invitations arrived and she said, you know, before we send these out, I think we should think about this. And she sat me down and she said, you know, if he really loves you, then postponing the wedding won't be a problem. And I think that you should think about that. And I listened to her. I actually met him one day after school and I said to him, you know, I don't think that this is working out. I think it's just too soon to get married. And I gave him his ring back and I said, you know, just hold on to this. And I'd written him a letter as well, just telling him how I was feeling and all those kinds of things. So I gave him the letter and I said we should be apart for a while, and I gave him his ring back and I was at college at the time and I just walked out. And he drove by me and he waved, like, bye, see you, like he always was like that. When he was in those moods, he would be very jokingly mean-spirited. I remember thinking we just ended our relationship pretty much, or at least postponed us getting married, and you think it's funny to smile and wave? But that was him. And I tried months after that to get back with him. I tried to talk to him about getting some therapy, and because I loved him and I thought my world was ending. We canceled our wedding and I went through about 3 months of depression. Without him, I didn't know what to do with myself. I just didn't think I could go on. This is a lesson you need to learn because everybody can go on. There, you know, depression and being upset and relationships, and when you lose someone that you really care about, it's hard. It really is. And when you're that age, you think that's your world. You think that's your everything, and sometimes you even think that maybe you want to settle because you don't think you can get anybody better. And I'm here living proof to tell you that you can. And waiting on the right person and not settling is everything. And it is the reason why I'm married to one of the most wonderful men that I could have ever been married to. He's wonderful, he's a good dad, he's a good husband, he's caring, he's loving. He's not perfect. He has his issues, but they're not anything that we're not ever able to work through together as a couple with mutual respect and understanding. And I came to realize that I needed this person in my life to show me what I didn't want in life. The time when I was the deepest and darkest and most miserable and very, very depressed, people came into my life. I got a call one day. I was really, really sad, and I was actually thinking some not so good thoughts. And I was on sleeping pills at the time just to sleep, and I was just having a really bad day. And just when I was having all these horrible thoughts, the phone rang, and it was a job that I had applied for a few weeks prior. They wanted me to come in for an interview, and I just thought, you know, why not? And that was the start of a wonderful summer for me. So that whole summer that I was supposed to be preparing for a wedding, I actually went out, I had new friends, I was dating again, and I had a really great summer. And it's funny because when the wedding day came and went, I was with a guy that I had been seeing, and we were out with his family for the day. And I remember looking at my watch thinking, okay, it's 3 o'clock, I should be getting married now, and feeling relieved that I had made the choices. And I always thought when that day came, I'd be devastated, I'd be so upset, and I would be thinking about it, and I wasn't. I was actually relieved and happy. So fast forward now, you think that's the end of the story. It's not. So fast forward, so I'm married, I have my kids. I haven't heard from him, haven't seen him, nothing. And my brother-in-law came up to me one day and he said, you know, Nikki, you're not gonna believe this, but he worked with a lady who knew this ex of mine in a very intimate way and a very sad way, and she started talking to him about it, but she didn't know that we were connected. But she literally told him about this police officer, this guy, and she said his name, who was involved in an accident, and he was drinking and driving and hit her son's car and actually killed him. And apparently got rid of the alcohol at the scene, and another cop arrived to take care of the problem. I don't know what happened, I wasn't there. But let's just say that, you know, he did have to go to court and he did have to do everything. I don't know the details of that. I believe, and I don't know for a fact, but I believe that I don't think he was ever able to, I think he lost his badge. I don't think he was able to be a police officer again. But I don't think that he ever went to jail or served any time for what he did. And it was literally an accident that could have been prevented. I am thankful today that I wasn't a part of that lifestyle of his, because I think it would have been horrendous to have been married to someone who was drinking and driving and actually killed someone and had no remorse. Apparently at the courthouse, when all the family of this kid was there and everything else, it ended up where he didn't have to serve jail time, and he walked out and he smiled at the mother as he left, kind of like when he smiled and waved at me when he left the parking lot of the school after I gave him his ring back. So to smile at a mother who lost her son, like you don't care, like I won, it's a pretty evil individual, pretty cruel, heartless person. And I'm just relieved, I'm thankful, because I have so much in my life. God has blessed me with a good marriage, 2 healthy kids, and a support system around me that will never allow me to make bad choices or go down paths that I did when I was 18 and 19. And you need to know now, if you're in a relationship that's abusive, even if it's emotionally, even if he never touched you, I can honestly say I don't remember this guy ever laying a hand on me, but the emotional abuse was probably even worse than the physical could have been, if that makes any sense. Words hurt. It doesn't matter, you know, that they don't hit you or they don't push you around. If they're verbally abusive and emotionally abusive, that can be just as bad, and it doesn't excuse it. There's no way that you should be put in that position. So if you have someone that treats you like that, don't stay in the relationship. Get out. And it may seem like it's your whole world right now, but it's not, because there's a whole world waiting for you out there. And I'm a testament to that. And I would say to you, get out. It's going to be a long road ahead, but there's someone waiting for you who's going to be a very respectful, wonderful, companion that will respect everything that you're about and will want to be a partner with you in the relationship. And partners don't abuse. Partners don't scream and yell. Partners don't tear you down. That's abuse. So if you're there, get out of it, because there's a great life waiting for you around the corner, and you just need to be patient and look for what you want and don't settle for what you don't want. And yeah, that's my story.